Hello and welcome to QUTV Sports Today. I'm Henry Balmer. Conference play for spring sports is in full effect as of this past weekend.
And I'm Tony Lundy. Baseball and lacrosse both had success at the Rock, and women's basketball made history, and that's where we'll begin today. On Sunday, the Quincy women's basketball team made history by winning the GLVC conference tournament. From a team that barely cracked double-digit wins last year, the now holding GLVC glory, the Hawks women's basketball team has been something special to watch this season.
And for the first time since 2005, the Quincy University Hawks are GLVC champions.
On Saturday, the QU women's basketball team was one game away from glory, but they had one opponent in the way, the Maryville Saints.
That they were a tough team, and we knew that their defense, we had a little bit of troubles with that when we played them the first time. And throughout the whole tournament, we were down at halftime every game, so we knew we just had to play through adversity and get through it. And it was an effort thing. It wasn't a skill thing. We were getting whatever we wanted, and we knew it was ours.
While being down in the beginning of the second half, the Hawks rallied at halftime and leaned on graduate student from Iowa, Nicole McDermott. McDermott went on to have a game of her life with 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists to lead the Hawks to victory.
I mean, my team trusts me with the ball, and I know that when I'm going, so is the rest of the team, and so having the confidence from them gives me confidence, and so they just trust me, and when I'm playing well, I feel like our team is playing well, and so I just felt like I was able to go out there and just play free and have fun, and that's exactly what we all did.
The Hawks made sure they did have fun with a comeback victory over the Saints to take home some hardware by a score of 64-60. With a feeling of satisfaction and relief falling over the team, they knew they completed something special.
I mean, it was just really satisfying. Like, we worked really hard all season. We played a lot of games, played a lot of good competition, and just to know that all that hard work finally paid off, it just really, helped pay it forward, I guess.
While the Hawks have hardware in hand, the job is not done as they take on the #1 team in the country, the Grand Valley State Lakers, on Friday to fight for a national championship. Carter Lenzen, QUTV Sports, Quincy.
Women's basketball team started off the season predicted to finish 7th in the GLVC. QUTV Sports' Michael Lanier will tell us more about the Hawks season.
I trusted the process the whole time. I mean, Coach has history of having good players tied to her, you know what I'm saying? And I trusted everything that Coach Boyd and the coach staff was doing.
Trust is something that Coach Boyd's team had to learn rather quickly because half of this Lady Hawks team was brand new at the beginning of the season.
A trip to Hawaii that kicked off a win streak that got them into the record books just paved the way for a GLVC championship.
It was coming back. Once we got back and we got back in our routine, we came back from Hawaii. We spent a week together. We went over, I'm going to say we went over strangers and we came back family.
The family showed up when they needed it the most. The Hawks won 15 games in a row, clinching them a GLVC tournament spot with the possibility of postseason play on the big stage in the March Madness tournament.
It was open arms for us, just bringing the newbies in, because like last year I was a newbie, so I kind of knew how it was, and bringing everyone in. We just hung out a lot. We had a lot of like team bonding type of stuff, and I don't know, just worked together. We played well together. We're like, all right, this could be fun.
Fun is the right word to use because this team has been so much fun to watch.
With that, we will turn it over to Tyler Menendez in the sports wing for the last week's sports highlights.
Thank you, Tony, and welcome to the Sports Wing. My name is Tyler Menendez, and to start us off, the QU baseball team continued play this week after last week's sweep of the Colorado School of Mines. The Hawks faced off against the Upper Iowa Peacocks in a 4-game series to start conference play. Game 1 of the series started off slow as it was scoreless through 6. Cade Ruffner went 6 innings scoreless for the Hawks. The Peacocks would strike first blood, scoring 1 in the 7th and 2 in the 9th. But the Hawks had something to say about that as they would claw their way back thanks to some clutch hitting down the stretch. And with the game on the line, Evan Davis would put the ball in play and walk it off for the Hawks. Game 2 was a little bit of a different story for the Hawks as the bats were firing on all cylinders. Matt Mateo added to it with a solo home run in the 4th, and the Hawks never looked back. Roman Harrison came in for the save, and the Hawks would go on to win this one 9-5. Game 3, the Peacocks were up 4-0, but the Hawks were not out as Joe Huffman and Carson Moreno would hit home runs in the second to cut the lead to 1. The Peacocks would answer back, but so would the Hawks. But it was not enough as they would lose this one 6-5. Game 4 started similar to Game 3 as the Peacocks jumped out to a 4-0 lead, but the Hawks had an answer early as they would score 11 big runs thanks to home runs from Joe Huffman, J.D. Ortiz, and Jake Vitale, as the Hawks went on to win this one and win the series 11-7. With that series win, the Hawks are 3-1 in conference play to start the year. They will be back at home this weekend to play a doubleheader on Friday against Central Missouri and a doubleheader Sunday versus Davenport University. Yesterday, Quincy women's tennis took on the Minnesota State University Mavericks in the first outdoor tennis match of the season. Ana Alvarez and Anthony Tino picked up the Hawks' lone highlight with a 6-4 win at number 2 doubles. Despite some close singles matches, the Mavericks swept all 6 courts to seal the victory. Quincy drops 5-5 on the season and will look to bounce back on March 16th, where they will travel to Clarksville, Arkansas to take on the University of the Ozarks. First serve is set for 2 p.m. The women's lacrosse team has had some exciting games this year, but none as exciting as this one. We take you to the Rock, where the Northern Michigan Wildcats played their first 2 games in Quincy. We start the match with this goal by Annie Morgan, her first of 5 on the day, which her teammates were pumped about. But the show wasn't only on the offensive side, as QU goalie Madison Whiting Wagner gets 2 of her saves here. She saved 12 of 28 on the day. The Wildcats went on a run, then the Hawks regrouped, and that's when Emily Neal falls to the ground and gets the goal to go. This game would go to overtime, Hawks winning by a score of 15-14. Good luck to women's lacrosse on their next game against Lewis College. The QU men's bowling team faced off for one final tournament to close out the year. Traveling to Smyrna, Tennessee, the Hawks finished a top 4 finish to make it to Nationals in Vegas. The first 16 games, the Hawks sat in 5th place. After the first 32 games, the Hawks sat in 7th place. They were 287 pins out of 4th place with 32 more games left. Going into the second day, after 16 more games, they were sitting in 8th place. For the final 16, they did not make any improvements, though they would need to finish, and they were still in 7th place overall. They missed Nationals by a total of 537 pins. However, this does mark the highest finish in Quincy bowling history, with many of the talent still having a year of eligibility. Thanks for tuning into the Sports Wing. My name is Tyler Menendez, and we'll send it back to the gentleman on the desk.
Thanks, Tyler. We turn our focus to an issue that affects athletes at every level: mental health and the emotional part of injuries in sports. While the physical recovery process is well documented, the psychological impact is often overlooked. QUTV sports reporter Freya Hansen takes us inside the world of injured athletes and the challenges they face on and off the field.
For many athletes, sports are more than just a game. They are a passion, a career, and in some cases, an identity. But what happens when an injury sidelines them? Morley, a soccer player whose season was cut short due to bicep femora syndrome, the physical pain on the side of her hamstring, was one thing, but the mental part was another battle entirely.
I'm talking to people, definitely. Like, I talk to my dad, even now, like, I talk to my dad about it, like, almost every day. I also keep a log on my phone of how it feels every day. So let's say I do more practice one day, I will write it down so I can look back and actually see how far I've come. And I'm also in contact with doctors from home a lot, so I can kind of just get that reassurance and keep them updated, so I feel as though I'm in communication with someone that like wants to help me.
Injuries for athletes are hard because it's not only about the physical process of getting healed, but it's also about the mentally and emotionally process of getting through an injury that takes out basically your whole daily life. So how do you cope with that?
How to surround myself with a good support system. I have a great support system here that helped me through some of my hardest days, and just trying to keep myself busy, reminding myself that I'm more than my sport. Just keep believing that I will get back and I'll be healthy again.
Emma tells fall season for soccer ended already in preseason due to a tear in her MCL. She is still working hard to get back on the field through PT. As awareness grows, the message is clear. Mental health is just as important as physical health. Athletes are learning that recovery isn't just about getting back in the game, it's about healing both body and mind. Freya Hansen, QUTV, Sports, Quincy.
Thank you, Freya. A powerful reminder that mental resilience is just as important as physical strength. Now, it was nice to see that the baseball team had a pretty good weekend. Unfortunately, I could not watch because bowling was out of town. But how was it inside that stadium, Henry?
It was a good weekend. It was always nice to see the Hawks win, but the fans may have gotten a little bit too rowdy Saturday on the party deck, but we're going to have more of this after the break.
We saw what the QU baseball team did this past weekend earlier on in the show. And as you know, the start of conference play is here around the GLVC. The Hawks kick things off at home against the Upper Iowa Peacocks. QUTV's Tyler Menendez will give us a look at the standings through week 1.
The Upper Iowa Peacocks came into town for a GLVC opening 4-game series against the Hawks. It was safe to say the Hawks made a statement in week 1, showing up, showing out, and taking 3 out of 4 games from the Peacocks, which sits the Hawks right behind only the Drury Panthers after the end of week 1. And I had a chance to speak with a couple of the Hawks to hear their reactions from the weekend, as well as some expectations that they have for this team.
I think we got a pretty good shot to take the conference title and have a lot of momentum going into the conference tournament in Marion. I feel like we got a chip on our shoulder from last year, losing in the championship. So I think the boys are ready and we're heading in the right path.
Alright, so for this season, I'm new to the GLVC, so I don't really have any expectations, but I do know for us that I am expecting us to make a big run and win some championships this year in the GLVC. So, go Hawks.
With that being said, it should be interesting to see how the remainder of the season plays out, and more specifically, who will take home the GLVC title. This has been Tyler Menendez, QUTV News, Quincy.
The Hawks will be at home this weekend for an unusual slate of games. They will play a doubleheader at home against the Central Missouri Mules on Friday, and then host again on Sunday as the Davenport Panthers come into town for a doubleheader as well.
Everyone loves when fans come to support their fellow Hawks. There are ways to be supportive of the Hawks without being unsportsmanlike to their opponents. Over the weekend, some fans supporting the baseball team found out that line. There were complaints to campus security about some of the behavior up on the right field party deck at QU Stadium. These fans were told to calm it down for Sunday's game.
Saturday we were out at the party deck having a good time. It was a good time. We just got to remember to be a little bit more respectful and better fans. We didn't do anything wrong, but just not be too rowdy, I guess, next time. So yeah.
There's nothing wrong with cheering on the Hawks or even playfully talking to the other team. When fans do this, it truly creates a home field advantage. Fans are asked to be respectful to all players and officials on the field or court. Being a student athlete is hard enough at a university. Some students at Quincy University even add being an RA to that load. Lindsay Vischer takes us on an inside look of being an RA and a student athlete.
Quincy University is full of student athletes, some having jobs on the side or even hobbies they do outside their sport. But imagine being an RA while being an in-season student athlete. You must communicate with your fellow RAs with travel schedule for away games, and also look ahead of the schedule to see when you'll be gone or practices may run late into the night. To some, this may sound like a lot to handle, but compromise is one of the key values of being an RA.
Being an RA and a student athlete is sort of challenging, but all the buildings have at least 4 RAs in them, and they're very understanding about when we're in season that we need some weekends off. And our weekends at home that we play, we take those duty nights if we can, and everybody's very understanding. And if even you need something off and nobody can take it, our RDs are very compatible with taking some weekends.
Even when the RAs are away, they still have ways around their building to contact them if needed. Some of them leave their phone numbers on flyers around the building to find. Some RAs, especially in the underclassmen dorm, have grown connections with the residents and will let them know when they'll be away due to their sport.
Traveling and being a student athlete while also being an RA is honestly one of the easiest things you can do while being an RA.
we have so many different sports and so many different athletes that when you're in season is a time when somebody else might not be. So you just kind of pick up the slack for one another. Last semester, I wasn't in season, so I would take more weekends and more times that people would be traveling. Whereas this semester, I am in season, so my fellow RAs are definitely picking up the slack for me. And I just pick up as much as I can and do what I can for my building.
Dorms such as Heline and Willer have multiple RAs that include a mixture of spring and fall sport athletes. This helps off-season athletes find more time to pick up duty shifts and in-season athletes to let up and time manage with their busy schedules. Even though being an RA here at Quincy University can be very rewarding, sometimes you still have to deal with stuff you don't want to deal with, like on-campus situations while traveling. And that can be very exhausting as you want to focus on your schoolwork as well and getting a dub that weekend for your team. Court Finley and Cassie Phillips are great resources as well here on campus if your RA or RD is away for sports or other curricular activities. Lindsay Fisher, QUTV Sports, Quincy.
All RAs on campus are willing to help anybody with any needs that any residents may have.
2 QU swimmers are competing this weekend in the NCAA Championship. The rest of the team gets a short break. Swimming has one of the shortest off-season breaks of any sport. QUTV's Grant Owen takes us on the inside look on what swimmers do during their break.
Swimming in the NCAA is the longest season, starting in August and ending in mid-March, so time is a really restricting factor for athletes.
It's nice to have a break from swimming so we can enjoy the time off, and it also gives us time to do things that we don't have time for during the regular season.
Some swimmers like to go to professional sporting events like hockey games, soccer games, and basketball games, and some like to stay ahead on their academics, while others hit the links to play some golf. Some swimmers spend their off-season playing golf, and that time spent is a hole-in-one. Although swimmers may not be good at any other sport outside of the pool, they enjoy playing basketball and pickleball to stay in shape for the season ahead. Grant Owen, QTV News, Quincy.
Thank you, Grant. It's nice to see what athletes do in their off-season.
Quincy Hawks football is embracing the spirit of change as they have hired a new defensive coordinator for the team. With all levels of experience under his belt, the Hawks have found a gem to lead them on the defensive side of the ball at the Rock. During the monthly squad meeting that took place on Monday, Coach Jason Kilday announced to the team that they have hired a new defensive coordinator. This is in part due to the departure of former linebackers in DC Michael Pannone to be husband and future father. To take his place, Kilday hired Dan McCown. McCown was the former defensive backs coach in DC for both the Western Illinois Leathernecks and the Saginaw Valley State Cardinals.
You know, it doesn't matter where you're at, man. It's just all the basics of tackling right, footwork, fundamentals, just doing the right things. You know what I mean? And just bringing a brand of football that everybody's gonna love to see.
At SVSU, his defense allowed 23.9 points per game. As well, the unit was first in the conference in sacks and defensive touchdowns and second in interceptions. The Cardinals ranked number 4 in the league against the pass, allowing 183 yards per game. McCown also coached first-team Associated Press and AFCA All-American linebacker Micah Kretzinger.
Every team on campus seems to have their own unique way of raising money for the season. The QU swim team offers a service that no other team could. QTV's Lucas Laudentine has more on what the swim team does to raise money for its season.
Only about half of the world population knows how to swim unassisted. For parents who want their kids to learn how to be in that 50% that know how to swim, there's an opportunity coming up. The QU swim team is teaching lessons to groups of children aged 4 through 12.
Swim lessons are our main fundraiser for the year. It helps us raise money for travel expenses, food expenses, and anything else we need.
These lessons can help the team raise over $10,000 and have served as the main fundraiser since the team's first season 3 years ago. An event this big can't simply be thrown together at the last minute. This requires a lot of preparation to make sure everything runs smoothly.
So I handle a lot of the administration related things, so making sure all of our instructors have lesson plans for their lessons so they know what they need to teach going through the lessons, and then also making sure all the kids are set up in the right groups for their level and what their swimming skills are currently, and making sure the lessons are ready to go by the time the kids get there.
Beyond just being a fundraiser, the goal of these lessons is to teach children how to swim. This is why every year a handful of scholarships are available for families who need help with reaching the $110 fee for the lessons. Outside of these larger group lessons, swimmers on the team will also teach private lessons to 1 or 2 children at a time. Lucas Laudentine, QUTV Sports, Quincy.
The group lessons are only offered once a year. However, the private lessons take place year-round. You know, Henry, spring break is just next week.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get some good weather coming up. I mean, I'd really like to hit the golf course and, you know, try to break my personal best.
Hey, I don't blame you. We'll find that out very shortly. As coming up next, QTV's Carter Lenzen brings us a weather update for the week.
Hello, Carter. Thank you for joining us. And I had a question. I was wondering if this warm weather is going to stay with us.
Yeah, I'm also wondering because he was talking about golfing right before the break, and you know, I think I might join him on that.
Oh, don't worry. We'll be plenty warm enough to go golfing. You might be able to jump in those ponds at the golf course as well. So let's take a look at the big board and see what we have in store. So obviously, it's going to be tanning time here in Quincy, Illinois, with the UVs sitting around 6 on the, because we are going to be in great weather, as it's going to be over 75 degrees here in Quincy over the next couple of days. As well, that means for me, breaking out the flip-flops and making sure those shorts are nice and fitting. As well as spring break is right around the corner, so if you're staying in Quincy, you have great weather here in the 217, but most people are going down to the Florida Gulf Shores, Panama City Beach area, so we wish you safe travels here from QUTV, as well as make sure you have a lot of fun. Let's look at our forecast for today. So today we have a high of 72 with a low of 45. That comes tonight around 1 o'clock. Your average of the day is around 50 degrees, as well as a low of about 31, so just a bit above the averages for this week. As well as our record for this week is 77 degrees back in 2006, right before the St. Louis Cardinals won their 10th World Series championship in St. Louis, as well as -8 is the biggest low we've ever had. Let's go over to today's big weather. Wednesday, you have partly cloudy skies, not many too clouds in the sky. No wind, really, just a little bit of 7-mile-an-hour gusts going east-northeast, as well as a nice 72-degree temperature. So if you want to play pickleball outside or walk your dogs outside, you can. As well, we go to tonight, about 45 degrees, so a little bit chilly. You might want to grab that jacket if you want to go walk to TCBY. As well, it'll just a little bit cloudy with the wind about staying the same, jumping back to 7 miles an hour. Let's go look at tomorrow. Almost 80 degrees, so Henry, you might be able to jump into those ponds at Westview Golf Course. As well, the winds will shift just a little bit from east-northeast to east-southeast, but staying right around 8 to 9 miles an hour. As well, let's look at the weekend forecast. Friday, high of 82. Friday evening, we have a little bit of thunderstorms coming here into the tri-state area just later in the night, low of 54 during there. And then the wind will start picking up, as well as you can see here, 25 on Friday, 22 on Friday evening, and 20 on Saturday. That'll be switching around as well. But that rain will cool us off just a little bit with a high of around 59, 60 degrees on Saturday. Let's take a look at the big forecast. You can see sunny skies mostly throughout the week on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, with a little bit of cool down due to that rain, as well as Sunday. That rain's going to cool us down a little bit more. And we're going to look at Monday as well. Monday, we're going to have 67-degree weather, as well as around 80 degrees, a little bit of partly cloudy skies as well. And finally, 66 on Wednesday with a little bit of PM showers here in Quincy, Illinois. And that's what we've had in our forecast this week in Quincy.
Thank you, Carter, for the weather update. Tony, have you ever heard any strange superstitions and wondered if there's any truth to it?
Oh, maybe I have, maybe I haven't. Coming up next, we'll take a closer look at KU athletes with a unique tradition and see what beliefs that influence baseball players before a swing.
Baseball is a tough sport to play for college athletes. Hitting a baseball might be the hardest thing to do in baseball, but players have their unique ways of getting their body and mind right before stepping into the box. Hitting a baseball can be one of the hardest things to do in sports, from trying to hit a 90-mile-per-hour fastball or a slider that moves 3 feet. For hitters, they must be ready to go when they step in the box. But the at-bat can already start before the hitter even steps to the plate, as hitters are visualizing what is to come and picturing what they will do in their at-bat.
I was always told as a kid to like develop a routine and like kind of walk up to the plate the same way every single time. And now I like to, hold my bat on the barrel, kind of like show the pitcher like that's where I'm going to hit it. And now it's almost like a little bit of a superstition. Every time I walk up there, I'm holding the bat on the barrel because that's where I want to hit the ball.
Some players like to visualize what they are going to do before they step into the box, while others have a different approach and show praise to the man above and put their trust in him that they will succeed.
So when I go to the box to hit, I always praise God because I know He's always with me, He's looking over me, and He's guiding me. So I always want to praise Him and do what's right for Him because I know what everything He would do is in His name.
All players are different and do what they need to do before they step into the box, from visualizing success or praising the Lord before they hit. They do what they need to do to be prepared for their at-bat, and this allows them to succeed in the box and on the field. Some people may think that superstitions don't really work, but it seems that they have worked for these players and helped them gain success on the field.
So what about you guys? You got any superstitions for, the QUTV show? Sometimes I like to, take a shower, do my hair up, wash my face a little bit, get all done up nice. You guys got anything?
For QTV, no. I kind of I go with the flow for it. For sports, yes. Bowling, I don't know why. I'm always the last person to put on my bowling shoes. It's just what helps me before a tournament. So.
I was about to say, when I'm playing rec league basketball, I have to hit it with the Jackie Moon, like 5 kisses on the ball before I take a free throw, just so I can make the shot.
Yeah, I got a little superstition when I'm golfing. Like if I'm ever hitting my driver, I only do 1 practice swing before it. If I do more than 1, I'm probably going to shank it, so I think that brings me good luck. But thank you for watching QUTV Sports this week. Make sure to check us out on QU Media and QUmedia.net.